Hi, I'm Dr. Cecilia DiMartino, naturopathic doctor at Willow Wellness Clinic in Waterloo, Ontario. This is a video series that I'm doing on being pregnant and baby's health. And this is part 3 of 6. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about diet and lifestyle during pregnancy. So first of all, I'm going to start with lifestyle because it's kind of the easiest one to talk about. Basically, the rule of thumb is that you don't want to start a new exercise or an exercise regime that you've never done before. So if if you're not a runner, it's not a great time to pick up running or to run a marathon, when you're pregnant. However, if you have always been running and that is your jam, there is no risk to continuing when you're pregnant, to continue the level of exercise that you're doing. And exercising is very, very important in pregnancy. You just don't want to push yourself necessarily too hard, but keeping it about that same level that you're sort of used to is a great idea. So that's exercise. So food. So what do we eat? What do we not eat? So you can Google these things, of course, really easily. On the Canada.ca website is a list of foods to avoid. So I'm just going to give you a bit of a summary. Basically, foods that have a potential to have food poison, that you can get food poisoning from, or that can have a bacterial connection. So, for example, raw fish and meat and things like that. Sushi, for example, you just want to be very careful because if you get food poisoning when you are pregnant, already food poisoning is a terrible experience. But what happens is when you get something like food poisoning, the body's objective is to purge. Obviously, you're vomiting, you have diarrhea, it's not pretty, but it just puts your body into this state of sort of spasm and purge and eliminate. What that can do is sort of stimulate also your uterus to sort of contract as well, and that's not what you want to do unless you're overdue, because we got to keep the baby inside and healthy and all that. So things like that. The other types of food to avoid are foods that have high heavy metals. So, for example, big fish that have mercury in them. So, you want to avoid eating a ton of salmon and tuna and that type of thing because it can be bad for the baby and sort of accumulate in with the body. So, that is an area. Another area so there's a specific vitamin. So, vitamin A and high dose vitamin A is actually what's called teratogenic, which means it can cause birth problems and baby. It's just not good for the baby. And basically, so for example, liver. Not that probably the majority of us don't consume liver, or maybe not on a regular basis, but like pate and that type of thing. You just want to watch out in terms of how much that you're getting. So vitamin A is something to stay away from when you're pregnant. Other things to watch out for. So coloring your hair. Not great, right? If you get chemicals, perms, or things like that done, anything. Think about it. Everything that you put on your skin will actually go into your bloodstream and will go to the baby. So I would forego getting your hair colored unless it's something natural like henna or something like that while you're pregnancy, if you can. Hot tubs, you want to avoid really just hot temperatures. You don't want to change your cat litter. So if this is an opportunity to have your spouse or partner or anyone else in your family to change a cat litter, play that card. There is a bacteria that can come out of the stool of the cat and can produce something called toxoplasmosis, which you don't want to get when you're pregnant. So stay away from cleaning out your cat litter. Sex is safe in pregnancy. I get that question a lot, unless of course your OB or midwife or whatever has told you not to have sex. But in general, very safe. You also don't want to be detoxing during this time. So if you are a person that goes and does, cleanses and detoxes and liver stuff. It's not really a time to be doing that when you're pregnant, because anything that you kind of detox and goes out into the bloodstream will go and affect the baby. So you want to watch out for that. There are herbs that I'll list them here that are sort of known to be a no-no in pregnancy. So, aloe, chamomile, calendula, and sage tea. So specifically in the form of tea, because that's how you would consume them. Not necessarily like calendula cream, it would be an issue, but in reality, in my opinion, the dose makes the poison. So, there are going to be herbs that are going to, you're going to want to avoid, or that they say to avoid. I would say, that it, as long as you're not consuming a ton of it, but do consult with your OB, your naturopath, your midwife, to be sure about these kinds of things. Also, in my previous video, I was talking about supplements. You want to watch out for certain ones that you may not want to take in pregnancy. At the same time, there are a lot of supplements out there that will have a blanket statement that will say, do not take while breastfeeding, do not take while pregnant. And that's just because they, for liability reasons, they want to just cover their butts. And there might not even be research behind that to show that it is absolutely, safe, but there might not also be research to show that it's not safe. Again, in the territory of supplements, the best person to ask would be your naturopathic doctor to go over what it is that you are taking, and he or she will tell you which ones to stop during pregnancy and which ones that you can, safely continue. So in the form of a tea, it's usually weaker, and even herbs and stuff like that. In terms of spices, I'm not usually too worried, again, unless you're drinking gallons of this stuff. But supplements are different because they are more concentrated herbs, and so you do want to watch out for that. So things to think about. So again, recap, exercise is healthy. Just don't do anything new and crazy while you're pregnant. Sex is generally, again, healthy unless told otherwise. And then food. You want to avoid those foods that can be that can be harmful for your body. Lots and lots of fruits and vegetables. So the more servings that you can get into your system, this is again general, but the better. So the more fruits and vegetables that we eat, the more micronutrients that we get into our body, and the better it is for us. Making sure also that you get enough protein in your diet and good fats. Those are all categories that are really important, but definitely not a time to be, like I said, detoxing or going on special diets unless you were prescribed something specific. So you want to have enough calories. You don't want to gain too much weight, but you also don't want to not gain any weight, of course, or even lose weight during pregnancy. That's not a good idea. You want to eat regularly. It's not generally a time to be doing what's called intermittent fasting, where you're not eating for certain times, and that's probably not a good time to be doing that during pregnancy, unless of course you were told otherwise by your health practitioner and expert. So so hopefully that was helpful. Again, this is part 3 of 6, so stay tuned for my other videos. Thanks.